Hey friend, Steve here. Here are 7 things that have helped people retire with peace of mind. People work too hard to spend their retirement feeling anxious, unprepared, or unsure. I've spent years watching my clients, friends, and even some mentors retire, some with peace of mind, and others with panic. These are 7 critical moves I've seen work to retire with clarity, confidence, and control. Let's break them down. First, absolutely do not retire until you know your number. You can figure out your number by just taking a few minutes to sit down and think. People will say, I'm living on $100,000 per year right now, therefore I need that when I retire. However, when we sit down and calculate the cost, we see that right now they're spending a lot of money on a big mortgage. They're paying for their kids' college tuition. And some kids are still in the house. All of these expenses are big, but a lot of them will be gone or significantly reduced by the time they retire. Therefore, if they're living on $100,000 per year right now, they might actually only need $60,000 per year once those expenses are gone. That'll work in their favor. However, the next thing we want to consider is inflation. Inflation is a silent money killer. If we look back 40 years to 1985, if you were to buy a pack of water, it might cost you $1. If you were to buy that same pack of water today, it'll cost you $3. For the most part, things have tripled in cost over the past 30 years. A cool calculator that you could use to look at any time period and the impact inflation has had is usinflationcalculator.com. I used that for this video and it's super simple and super easy to use. Now, inflation can be scary, but here's what I would do. Don't let the emotions cause you to panic. That's usually when we make poor decisions. What I would do is block out an hour, write down my income, my major expenses, and then jot down which expenses should be gone when I retire. Then I would take my income, minus those major expenses, and I'll have a very rough ballpark of how much money I'll need when I retire based on the cost of living today. But once I have that number, what you can do to keep things simple is just round up by 10, 20, or if you're very conservative, 30%. And why I would do that is because we know things are going to cost more. Therefore, we want to plan accordingly. So for example, if I earn $150,000 per year, and I'm very comfortable right now, but I have major expenses of $80,000 that will be gone in the future, that means I'm actually comfortable on $70,000 per year. So 70K is my retirement number to start. But if I'm retiring in 10 years, I know 70 grand today is not gonna be worth 70 grand 10 years from now. So what I might do is plan to need 90 or maybe even $100,000 10 years from now. This way, I know I'll have enough when I retire. Next, move number 2. Most people think that retirement income is just about saving enough money, but the most powerful place to get clear on is what your guaranteed income will be. Where I like to start is by seeing how much I'll have in Social Security and pensions. And I'll also put reliable rental income in there too. This is a big step in determining how much money you need to save. For example, I was speaking with an endodontist who is currently getting ready to retire, and he said that he has ownership in other medical practices that currently pays him about $150,000 per year in passive income. So that's income he can count on unless he decides to sell the practice later, in which he'll get a huge amount of cash and he'll be okay. As I'm discussing this with a client, what I like to do, because this helps them and it helps me a lot, is document everything on Excel, so it's organized, and then also on a Word document. And then all of a sudden, we see what things look like. So for example, when we're mapping this out, we might see at age 65, your Social Security will be $35,000 per year. So that's some fixed income there. We see that your spouse will also have Social Security of $20,000 per year. Okay, now we're at $55,000. And then we also see that you'll have some rental real estate that you've had for a while that is currently producing $30,000 per year. And that could go up, but we'll just peg it conservative, meaning keep it where it currently is. This way we don't have to hope that it goes up over time. So now from a fixed income perspective, we see that your total is $85,000 per year. So this gives us some clarity on how much of our income is guaranteed. All right, move number 3. Most people focus on saving for retirement, but few think about how they'll actually turn that savings into spendable income. I recently met with a client who has some very large investment accounts. He's doing very well and he's saved a ton of money over the years. Between Social Security and some other fixed income sources, his income is going to be around $100,000 per year. However, he lives in California. If you live in California, you know that 100K is probably not going to do that much for you. So he did not want to have to spend his investment accounts aggressively. So we explored different options, and what he really liked was the idea of an annuity. Originally, he was turned off by annuities, but he was open to taking a look. Here's what he looked at. He had an IRA with about $500,000 in it. He's 59 years old right now. So what he looked to do is move that into an annuity, and here's why. From a guaranteed income standpoint, here's what he would get. If he starts taking income at 60, which is 1 year from now, because he's starting at 59, he's guaranteed income of $38,000 per year. If he waits until he's 65, guess how much he'll get? Comes out to about $59,000 per year. And then if he waits until he's 71, which he might be able to do, it'll give him about $100,000 per year in guaranteed income for the rest of his life. So when people don't have a plan, they typically either spend too little because they're afraid of running out of money, or they overspend and they run out, or say, I spent too much. Now I've got a budget. That's hard to do once you're used to spending a lot of money. In his particular case, he used $500,000, which was actually a small percentage of his retirement. He's got several millions in assets, so he's in a healthy spot, but he used 500 grand to guarantee him income later. And in this situation, he might start taking it at 65 years old, so he'll have the 100K of other income sources, plus 59 here. So he's almost at $160,000 per year of fixed income sources, and then he also has his investment accounts. Here's what I usually like to do. When I'm working with someone, I like to look at what assets they have and then how those assets can be used to produce income. If they don't have a planner and they say this stuff is overwhelming, that's okay. I would just start by doing everything in a very simple manner and start as conservative as possible. I'll give you an example. Pretend you have $1 million. Pretend it's earning 0%. You keep it in the bank or you keep it in a safe at home just because you want to be risk-free as possible. If you were to take $50,000 per year for 20 years, you'd run out of money. That's how long 50K per year, drawing from $1 million pile of cash, will last you, 20 years. Now, if you can take that $1 million and put it into a 5% account, that 5% will produce $50,000 per year, and you don't touch the principal. You could also do what he did and see what an annuity will produce you in terms of a guaranteed income standpoint. And then usually what we do is just, again, put it on a Word document and also Excel to make things very simple for the client. So what I like to do is look at the current assets someone has and then go through simple exercises, just like the one we spoke about, to see exactly how long their money will last. It's not necessarily planning, it's just education in the beginning to help them grasp the basics. Then from there, we start to look at different products and solutions and see if anything can help make their situation better. All right, move number 4. Your retirement savings are not just for you. They could be the foundation for generational wealth. What I'll usually do with clients here is, again, use that same spreadsheet that we put together to figure out what their income will be. But then what we'll do is start to itemize their assets as well. This way, we can see their 401k, money in the stock market, money in conservative accounts, real estate, and everything else. I want those details so we can organize it for them in a very clean fashion. Then we'll see what their net worth looks like today and also in the future when they pass. That's where the legacy comes into play. Again, it's nothing fancy. I just walk through the numbers with them and do my very best to make it easy for them to understand. And anyone can do this. If you say, hey, that sounds overwhelming, start with a pen and paper. It's quite simple. The next thing that I'll do with them is go over whole life insurance. And what I'll say about this, people always misunderstand this product, or they just think it's bad because of something they heard online or someone told them that it's a ripoff, which it can be, but not if it's set up correctly. A whole life insurance policy provides a huge advantage for most of our clients, speaking personally. The key is making sure that it is truly set up for high cash value. Because if you do things right with a whole life insurance policy, one, you can use the cash value, which is your money, to supplement your income during retirement, and that income can be tax-free to you. And then from a legacy standpoint, the death benefit is always paid out 100% income tax-free on a life insurance policy. Usually, what we'll see our clients do is set up a trust as the beneficiary. This way, when they die, the life insurance proceeds are paid to the trust, and then the trust states exactly how and when that money can be spent. Here's usually what I like to do when helping someone plan here. It starts just by itemizing our assets. We'll include debt here too. But if we have assets, I want to look at liquid and non-liquid. But then what I'll look at is here's your net worth, meaning what you have while you are alive, and then your legacy. Next, move number 5. You might have spent your entire life building a retirement account, but now we'd like to see how we can make it efficient. Not too long ago, I spoke with someone who was in her early 60s. She had pensions and other sources of income, and she's comfortable for the rest of her retirement. She's got plenty of money. She also had over $1 million in her IRA. I asked, do you have any plans for that money? Her response was, no, I don't really need it for income. Really, my plan is just to let it grow and leave it to my kids as a legacy. The benefit to leaving it in her IRA is it will continue to grow. She has some stocks from the companies she used to work at, so it's been appreciating. However, from a legacy standpoint, leaving an IRA or 401k is a very inefficient manner to pass money on because it's all going to be taxed when they pull it out or when she pulls it out for that matter, because it's all grown tax deferred. So a strategy that we looked at was moving that IRA into an annuity. Now the annuity guaranteed $75,000 per year in income if she started taking income right now. So the strategy here is from age 63, that's how old she is right now, through age 70, she's going to take that $75,000 per year and move it into a whole life insurance policy. Now the $75K, that is taxed as ordinary income. So in the first year, the life insurance policy is worth $1.2 million. The first year cash value is about $65,000. So the majority of her payment is available in cash value. By age 70, she would have paid $600,000 into the policy. It's a total of 8 years. The cash value, though, at 70 is worth $675,000. Starting at age 71, she stopped putting that $75K per year into the policy. The cash value keeps on growing, and the $75K per year, which is coming from the annuity that she puts into her pocket. Then from 71 until she passes, she keeps getting that $75K per year, and then she still has the life insurance policy where the cash value has grown to $1.3 million and the death benefit to $1.5 million, a little bit more. Let's recap that strategy really quickly. So she's 63 right now. Let's put that down below. 63 today. She's got an IRA with $1 million. Step 1, she moves that IRA into an annuity. Step 2, the annuity produces $75K per year. So 3, that $75K per year is moved into a whole life insurance policy, but not forever, just for 8 years. That takes her through the age of 70. So at 71, she stops making payments. So how much is that? That's 600 grand she's paid into the policy. So we'll come back to the life insurance, but regarding the 75K, so from age 71 until she dies, we'll assume 85 here, she keeps getting that 75K per year. So if you do the math there, that's going to come out to more than $1.1 million in total income payments when you calculate that. This again is from 71 to 85. That's money in her pocket. How much did she start with? $1 million. Now, by age 85, that cash value has been growing the entire time. She has access to it on a tax-free basis. It's grown to about $1.3 million. So there's liquid money she can access. And from a legacy standpoint, the death benefit is worth $1.55 million. So she started with $1 million, moved it into insurance products that have guarantees. The life insurance has a tax benefit. She funded the life insurance policy with $600K total, $75K per year of the annuity, fed the policy. Then she stopped funding the policy, put the $75K in her pocket, received total income that she spent of $1.1 million, and when she passes, more than $1.5 million is passed to her beneficiaries. So what I would do here is say, all right, you spent 1.1 and you passed more than 1.5, that's $2.5 million. When I look at it that way, and you started with $1 million, and it's also peace of mind. The strategy is very, very simple in that respect. Here's what I would do if you're interested in this. See what the numbers look like, specifically your numbers, if you don't do this, and just keep doing what you're doing. Next, I'd look at what things look like if you move some of that money into an annuity or into a life insurance policy. Looking at the numbers also does not mean that you have to do it. You can just see what it looks like. I think that that is a way better route to take than just listening to someone who says, life insurance and annuities are crap, don't do it. Every time I hear that, it's usually from someone who is A, selling a different product and they're incentivized to get you to not look at that product. B, they had a bad experience in the past, which has happened a lot. Or C, they don't fully understand how the product works or the different options that are available. If the strategy works for you and it produces the money you're looking for during retirement and helps you leave a legacy, great. If not, that is okay. I just want to make sure I express that. Move number 6. If you want to protect your family from chaos after you're gone, this is the most important move you'll ever make. I've got a more personal story about this. Earlier this year, I had a personal health scare, and for the first time in my life, the idea of not being alive crossed my mind. Fortunately, several years ago, I had set up a trust with an attorney and also who I consider to be a friend and also her associate at the time. If anything did happen to me, meaning if I were to die, for Tara, my wife, I set it up so she wouldn't have to be the one making big money decisions because she doesn't do that right now and it would just stress her out. So the trust has, guess what? People I trust listed in the documents that help her with those decisions and also protect her from being taken advantage of in any way. And then for the business, I've got a key man life insurance policy, which is meant to help the business to continue on if anything did happen. The point is, when it comes to the trust, the rules are clearly outlined and it prevents family tension or any type of mismanagement from occurring, which just stresses everyone out. Here's what I would do if you're interested in trust planning. Don't feel the need to get this big, complex trust or that you have to be super wealthy for this to work. If you're concerned about your assets being passed to the next generation and used in a responsible manner, that's where a trust can help. If you say, I don't know what to do, I don't know where to start, I don't want to talk to an attorney because they're going to charge me a ton of money, ask someone else who set up a trust what they did. And then you can usually set something up simple with some good local attorneys, or maybe you could use an online service. There are several reputable services in that respect. But then if your net worth continues to grow, I might speak to an attorney who is experienced, which will cost more money. But in my opinion, I think that that is worth the spend to make sure everything is set up properly. All right, finally, move number 7, retirement is not a one and done decision. It's a living plan that does need updates as your life changes. When you plan out your retirement, maybe you have a trust drawn up. Everything is probably going to be perfect today when you finally sign on the dotted line, but things are going to change. Sometimes for better, sometimes for worse. Your income and assets will go up and down over time. You'll meet different people that you trust, or you might decide that you want to leave money to a good cause that today you didn't, but tomorrow you do. Reviewing your situation very briefly is usually enough. What we do for our clients at our company is send them a summary of where they're currently at. A lot of times we'll also put together a report that shows them the original plan. This way, they can compare what did the original plan look like and where am I today? Are things on track or do I need to make adjustments? If you don't revisit that strategy though, and a long period of time passes, this is what can lead to outdated assumptions, missed opportunities, or if you're like me, you'll forget important things. So those are the 7 moves I'd make before retirement. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, here's another video that breaks down a retirement strategy we've prepared for a client.